Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's coverage of Fast Fridays presented by Maconi Setup Shop. Tonight we are at Watkins Glen International for GT3 car racing as one of our qualifying races for the upcoming monthly money race. For those of you who haven't joined us before, Fast Fridays is a weekly series by Maconi Setup Shop featuring a varying and track combination week to week, always keeping these guys on their toes. My name is Shane Mundy, joined in the booth with me here is Jeremy Briggs. And of course, it's David Cruz in our production booth. Jeremy, Watkins Glen is a fan and driver favorite road course. We're running the boot tonight, though. With that in mind, what can we expect to see here tonight as these guys prepare to hit the track?
Good evening, Shane. It's great to be here. What a great track. I was just here myself on last Sunday, watching the Cup Series. They did not use the boot. The boot adds a little bit of length to the track, just a little bit more of a lefter and a righter. You can just see it off there in the distance from this great plimp angle right there to the pretty much the top of our screen. That is the boot. That is the new line that these drivers will be taking in these GT3s. These cars are going to be fast. It's going to be a great show.
Absolutely. Always is a great show with Fast Fridays, and always cool to see the different cars and track combos that they pull out. This one of the more normal ones, but we do get to see some more unusual track combos and track and car combos. So everybody hitting the grid right now. It'll be 45 minutes of racing tonight. This is a timed event. This will not be a set number of laps. So definitely gonna make sure these guys are where they need to be at the end to have a shot. Let's take a look at the starting grid. Darren Rowe, Tyler Brown on our front row, with R.C. Rigdon in third, Billy Sigmund in fourth, Gabriel Gotti in fifth, and Rick Javorka in the sixth spot, Jeremy.
As we continue on throughout the field, not a lot of drivers, I think, in the session right now. Just there, and you were saying in sixth and seventh, there's Randy Sprouse, and then eighth is Michael Curhan, one of the frequent Fast Friday drivers. He's the last one to take a time. Everybody on here, I'm not sure if they're even in this session, but we got Anthony Trippi. I cannot pronounce the 10th starter there. My apologies. As you can see, as we look on throughout the field, looking at the rest of the lineup, the starting grid, I'm not sure what drivers are here, but we'll definitely get a good look at them. When we come to the green, they are pacing from the boot onto the NASCAR track now. They'll be coming to green this time, Shane.
And if it's anything, which it won't be, I was going to say, if it's anything like that cup finish, it'll be exciting, but maybe we'll still see a good show. The boot obviously adds an interesting layer to things. Headed through the final corner, that pace car is going to make that sharp right-hander there. And we are set for 45 minutes of racing at Watkins Glen International. The green flag is out courtesy of Barney Flagman, and we are underway.
I would assume these drivers are going to be somewhat patient going into turn one here. We got a long way to go, 45 minutes. Got to be in it to win it. Those drivers want to collect points, and maybe those drivers that did not come tonight, that are normally in these Fast Fridays events, that kind of skipped this one because they weren't excited for it maybe. These drivers are going to try and capitalize and maybe hopefully get a good finish.
Absolutely. As Rowe from the pole continues to lead Brown in the second spot. Here we go through the bus stop. Hop in that curve. Such a scenic racetrack. It's such a just picturesque view everywhere here. Very photogenic track. Here comes the boot. NASCAR fans watching are used to them turning right there, and now we go straight. Big block there. Thrown by, I believe that's Sellers on the 27 car.
Everybody getting strung out there. You can see the 27 car right there. Trying to just pace around the track right now, or just get into a good hole and get into a good rhythm. Like we said, we got 45 minutes in this race. It's going to be a patient race. I'm not sure if they're going to have to pit or not. We'll have to check on that and see how this progresses. I don't know if there's yellers or not either, so we'll see how this race goes, as these drivers seem to be pretty collective as they just come out of the boot and back onto the NASCAR track.
Definitely will be interesting as well to see how these guys capitalize on the passing zones that this racetrack actually has. One gone around one of the Mustangs in the back, Jem Sims. Heavy rear end damage to that 14. I believe there used to be a wing on that car. And he's now just got a couple antennas sticking out the back of it, it looks like. Let's take a look at what happened here to the 14. I believe he just lost it all on his own. He's out here running at the farther end of the field. Only 10 cars on track, and yep, he just goes right around on the exit of the corner. Might have had too much throttle. Getting back into the gas too soon. Put too much wheel still in it. Obviously, had a tough time getting going back around, and he's already hit pit road here. So maybe an early exit for Sims. It's still Rowe at the head of this field. And another one spinning into the first corner. Derek Sellers, who we saw throw a big block just earlier, and just a lap to go. Oh, but he hooks one.
Wow, pandemonium on the track. We've got, looks like six or seven cars left on the track now.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there was something that led to that turn one contact that sent Sellers around, and he obviously looked pretty intentional there going into that corner. And Jim taking a little bit of a shortcut here through the grass.
There's a couple of Jem Sims in here tonight, so I'm not sure if it's multiple drivers or one driver. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see what's going on there.
Yeah, this is not sure what this particular Sims is up to. Cutting out to the fourth place runner of Billy Sigmund in the 73 ride. Top four all still in decent range of each other.
Everybody so far so good. I guess up here towards the front, looks like four drivers within striking range of each other. Looks like the sixth place driver is falling back about 5 seconds or more on everybody else. But we still got, it's about 40.5 minutes to go here. Lots of chaos from the get-go here. Boy,
No doubt.
I am confused as you are.
Yeah, it's definitely been a beautiful start. Maybe not in the way you like to see if you're a fan of just clean, good racing. But obviously not entirely sure what went down, especially with Sellers in turn one. Just looked like maybe got turned into turn one and then retaliated. Just hard as hell. It's still Rowe out front. He started on pole as we're about 5 minutes in here. There is, as far as I know, no tire limit for these guys in this race. Should they decide to pit, I believe they are carrying just 100% fuel. So we'll see if that comes into play at all.
RC rigged on right here, right in second. Starting to maybe put a little pressure on our leader. We might have a battle for this lead here.
Yeah, Rowe has been the man up front from the get-go, but RC trying to keep in range. And mentioned right before we had that incident in turn one with the 30, how these guys will go about taking advantage of the few passing zones that this track offers. One of them they are coming right up on, which is turn 7 of the NASCAR track right here. And then, of course, turn 1, which is just downhill, heavy braking zone. Definitely a place you can take advantage of, but also an easy place to make a mistake. So if Rowe was to take it more cautiously through 1, RC could try to capitalize in that 2 car, and he's got quite the run here as we go through the S.
RC rigged on. Continues to put the pressure on up through the S's. Down this quick straightaway into a heavy braking zone of the bus stop. RC putting the pressure on.
Well, see if Darren Rowe, those curves, those rumble strips, throw it in here violently. Obviously, Watkins Glen International not updated yet on iRacing, but made some changes to the bus stop in the real world. Added a bit of a wall there with some softer, less maybe violent curving. I believe saw something posted right after they had made the modifications about how drivers at Watkins Glen took a lot of G's from those curbs, and obviously that can cause injury. So good on Watkins Glen to do that. It'll be interesting if it comes to iRacing at any point, how much that'll change the sim racers' approach to the bus stop, because obviously it'll be quite different. In sim racing, you're obviously a little less worrisome about throwing it in there violently because you're not going to wreck a real car.
And unfortunately, some drivers kind of have too much confidence going into those turns, like you said, because it is a sim. That's when you can lead yourself into mistakes. As we now have 37, just over 37 minutes to go here. The battle for a lead is where we're at right now. We'll have to see if Tyler Brown continues his march towards the front there in third. Maybe Billy Sigmund right there in fourth. Excuse me, making a charge to the front as well. Maybe Darren Rose starting to fall off here.
Yeah, you gotta keep up with the pace of the race. And obviously nearing just a couple minutes away from the 10-minute in mark. RC keeping Rowe on his toes, keeping him in range. Both perfectly through the bus stop, setting up for a great battle for the lead when it does come.
Third and fourth, not too far back now. They might be making a charge. I'm not sure if Darren Rowe, let's take a look at Tyler Brown here in the number 4 machine, making his charge there in that Mustang GT3. These are pretty sweet rides, man. Definitely, I would assume a little bit slower than Cup stuff. I'm not sure. I've never driven any of these before. I think I've driven a Lamborghini, but I didn't even get very many laps in it, I can tell you that. And these drivers, I'm sure, doing all they can to keep these cars on the track. You got to keep these cars within those boundaries so you don't get accidents and disqualify yourself by accident. As we look at Gabriel Gaddy there right in 5th place trying to make a pass.
Yeah, these are very sharp race cars and tough to drive. I've never gotten the courage to wheel one myself, and thinking about it a little lately, had a friend that wants me to maybe run some stuff with them in the NASCAR off season, so might take it
side by side here for the lead, it looks like.
Yeah, and right into the bus stop as well. RC thought better of it going side by side into the bus stop, gives Rowe back the spot, and now RC will have to wind her back up and try again.
Down into the boot. I call these like lackadaisy turns. I don't really know how to describe them. They're not really sharp, but obviously you got to turn the wheel, and it's another element to the track. Lots of elevation changes. Looks like we're going back up the track. I believe the transition from this part of the track back onto the rest of the circuit, there's like a little bit of a bump there, if I remember correctly. And after this right-hander turn, yeah, it's that left coming back onto the track. I believe there's an elevation change that goes down. Like the track changes just a little bit, and it might cause some wheel spin, as we did see some drivers early on getting in a little bit of trouble here coming back onto this part of the course.
Yeah, it's definitely, the boot is, in my opinion, a lot trickier than the NASCAR courses. Like we were talking about these cars being hard to drive. I can't imagine just how skilled, especially these top 3, because we have Brown looking on. We were talking about RC rigged on and how he had kept Rowe in range, but the 4 is slowly starting to creep in as we have the 14 into the wall again, and we'll get a tow back to pit road.
A lot of trouble for that 14 car. Maybe not too familiar with these cars yet. Trying to make it happen.
Gotta learn somehow.
Exactly.
That's just how it is. I mean, obviously, it can be frustrating, running around people that are new to it. But if you're a skilled driver anyway. But at one point we were all just as confused and having to learn our way around a certain car, or a certain track. And that's just what's another thing that I just love about iRacing is, the community is very helpful to each other, with teaching young drivers and stuff like that.
We sit here and talk about drivers struggling, and I bet you I know one thing. I would be one of those drivers struggling out here. These cars are a different
Absolutely.
animal, and that, like you said, that boot is just such a different element. You think you know the track, and just trying to add in those other turns can definitely mess you up. As we're now at the 33-minute mark, the battle for the lead is now turned into a 3-car battle within 1 second of each other. This is going to be interesting. With just over 30 minutes to go, we'll see if Tyler Brown maybe just kind of lays back, or if they've got a pit. We'll have to see how this transpires.
Tyler Brown obviously has either found something these last few laps around or has saved his equipment better than our top two who were battling for a little bit. But Tyler Brown keeping him in sight, and that's all you can really ask to have a shot to win it. You got to try to be in position at the end to have a chance. Because the difficulty with road racing a lot of times, especially in road course races with no cautions and all that, is oftentimes you'll see exactly what we're seeing here, where the best cars are going to pull away from each other. You're not going to have a lot of opportunities to bunch back up and gain spots. So oftentimes these road course races boil down to who makes the least amount of mistakes.
Man, you couldn't have said it any better, Shane, who makes the least amount of mistakes, because I know I make a ton, and boy, that is frustrating when you start making one mistake. Sometimes it gets you a little hot in the head, you start making more.
Yeah,
speaking of hot.
Start to overthink it. But RC, I think I know where you were going with that. He is picking back up the pressure on Rowe, our race leaders. We take a look at the battle for fourth now. The 27 car leading Gatti in that 5th position. Good looking ride. Oh, it gave Gatti.
Oh no!
I hope that wasn't commentator's name.
I wasn't gonna say it.
Man.
You said it, Shane, man. As soon as you said his name, I think you scared him.
Well, just looked like he might have clipped me. We'll take a look at him. Yeah, clipped the grass. And definitely going to be some heavy damage to that ride. There's the crazy thing about the skill that the top 5 has shown, however, is he's still in the 5th spot right now. Even with all that damage and going around, getting it reset as long as he had to take. Still holds 5th. RC Rickon still holds 2nd. It seems Brown in the 4 car back in the 3rd spot. That Mustang has kind of fell back off a little bit.
30 minutes to go. Like I said, maybe Tyler's pacing himself right here. He's like, you know what? I'm within. Oh, RC with a big moment going to the bus stop there. Almost looked like he was going to run into the back of row there. Just really hauling the mail. Letting her rip in this Porsche.
Definitely some. Definitely on the edge of out of control moments. Especially right there for RC Rickon. But it's still nonetheless, despite a little bobble, right within range of Rowe, but just has not been able to get beside him. He had a good enough run a few laps prior to now. Going into the bus stop, thought better of it, and has been trying to build a run back up to the 18 ever since. But I think if he keeps up the pace that he's going on right now, it's not going to be long until we see him maybe have another crack at it.
Definitely another crack at it. He's really putting the pressure on. As Brown just hanging right there. Like I said, just within 2 seconds. And I got interrupted there with a big moment to the bus stop. And I felt like Brown, like I said, he caught up to leader so much. Maybe he's starting to pace himself knowing there's so much time left. And he caught up so quick. Maybe when these leaders are getting side by side, it leads to trouble. And man, this is going to turn into a really good race between these 3 drivers. The best of the best have come to the front.
Absolutely. Brown definitely not quite as close to the front two as he was moments ago, but we talked about, how you win these races by making the least amount of mistakes. Don't rule out the fact that the 2nd place runner and 1st place runner could make a mistake that hurt them both. then Brown would be right there to capitalize. So you just never know in any type of motorsport, any type of car, any track. It is not over until the checkered flag flies and somebody crosses the line right underneath it. And Rowe right now is headed that direction for the moment, but still lots of time left, about nearing the 28, 27-minute mark, getting around that area. And I believe, like you said, the best of the best are up front right now.
We'll have to keep an eye on that 27 machine there in fourth and see if that driver, that I cannot pronounce the name, and I really apologize. There's just a lot of letters there. I'm just not good at names. I feel more confident not saying it. As we keep an eye on the times, though, we'll have to see if that driver catches our leaders at all. About 18 plus seconds back, I believe, right now. Still 27 minutes to go. As we take a look there, it looks like an Audi, I believe this is. No, McLaren, I believe, is what we're looking at. I don't know. I could be wrong either way. I'm not very good with these GT3 cars.
It's all good. That's the thing about Fast Fridays. You didn't get the commentators out of their comfort zone a little bit. We're used to the stock cars.
Yes,
on
sir.
ovals.
Yep.
They're
Definitely out of my comfort zone. Yep.
But
Nailed it right
entertaining
there.
nonetheless. Of course, Maconi set up shop, and all they do here on the iRacing platform. This is, of course, like we mentioned at the start of the show, one of the qualifying races for the upcoming monthly money race. And in those money races, of course, you can take home some pretty cool prizes. You have your choice of either a 1-meter trophy, or you get $250 cash if you win those money races. So if you haven't competed in Fast Fridays before, maybe that'll swing you a little.
And one thing about these Fast Fridays events, they have, like you said, so much diversity. And if you're not sure if you want to take laps in these vehicles, nice thing is it doesn't hurt your I rating. If you really want to, you could tack onto the back of one of these and just ride it out, and maybe you could learn something.
Exactly. And next week, it'll be, of course, September 27th. We're taking the Legends cars to South Boston. That's what's up next for Fast Fridays. And then I believe the finale for the July through September Fast Friday schedule is actually trucks. There we go on the screen. Yep, trucks at Talladega. Those races in yellow are the money races. 2 of them already in the books. Xfinity cars at Daytona, late models, stock cars at Dover.
That was a blast, by the way. I ended up finishing 4th in that race, the late models at Dover. And I tell you what, that was a fun combination right there, and I appreciate the drivers participating in that, and the Maconi setup shot for putting that on. That was a blast, as we are side by side for the lead. Oh, I'm gonna have it. Boy, this is gonna be a good battle.
The bus stop again, and it just seems like RC, when he's deciding to use that run, it's coming at the most unfortunate parts of the racetrack for him. And part of it is, just mainly where he's catching Rowe, who has just been able to hold him off regardless. RC has done a phenomenal job basically staying right on the rear bumper of Rowe almost the entire race. As we have ran under 25 minutes remaining. We started with 45 minutes on the clock, and I will also mention this battle between Rowe and RC rigged on here in the second spot has allowed Brown in that white Mustang right behind them to catch back up a little bit.
Just when you think Brown's going to fall off, he surprises us, and now he's right to the back bumper. Almost makes the pass.
I think RC had to get out of the gas. Maybe a slight mistake. Will bobble again. We saw him make a mistake earlier in the bus stop, was able to hang on to it. And Brown cut him a big break. Could have easily made a little bit of contact with the back of the 2, but was able to slow up in time and avoid contact. We continue on with a pretty even gap just about between the top 3. Maybe Brown falling back a little more now, and that's unfortunate because he was definitely back on the hunt, and now he'll have to give it another go.
I feel like Brown's car is really good in the corners, and the Porsche seems to be really good on the straightaway. And it's kind of just how it all plays out. At least that's what it looks like in my opinion. I'm not sure what it's going like for the drivers, but watching it from here in the broadcast booth, it looks like the Mustang might be a little bit better through the turns. Might be helping them out.
Yeah, obviously the variety of cars plays a factor into all of this, which makes it even more eventful. You know, just not just because we're running GT3s at Watkins Glen, it's a different car and track combo every week for Fast Fridays, but because there's different manufacturers, they all drive different, handle different, makes for a very entertaining show. Exactly. I mean, there's definitely diversity in this top three. None of them look anything like the other than the fact they all got a wing on the back. That's basically it. Other than that, you got a Ferrari, a Porsche, a Ford Mustang. Under 23 minutes remaining in row. Has been able to gap rigged on a little bit again, but we've seen RC be able to close that gap back down a few times already tonight, but hasn't been able to capitalize, mainly the 2 times I've seen him get within striking distance. So if you were in the position of RC, Jeremy, just hypothetically, and you wanted a specific place on this racetrack to make a move, make the dive, whatever you want to call it, where would you try to make the pass on road?
I would try to get my run right here going up to the S's and try to get, I don't know how else to say, but like dominance going into the bus stop to pretty much seal the deal. As you can see, the grit in a run, I don't know how much of a draft you get with these cars. I don't know if you get any dirty air with these cars, but I know with diffusers and cup racing, it does make that difficult for racing, but maybe with these big wings, it helps them still continue to have some of that grip.
Definitely. I think the bus stop would also be a great place, but you can't rule out turn 1 either. Just so many different areas where you could, and I definitely agree with your statement a couple of moments ago where you mentioned that the Porsche seems to have very good straightaway speed. You know, also agreeing with what you said just a second ago about not sure if the draft comes into play at all. But either way, the Porsche definitely can close up to Rowe's rear bumper, but has not been able to get alongside to try and complete the pass, as we are about to run under 20 minutes remaining here in just a few seconds here, and it's gonna get interesting soon. I feel like if you're RC rigged on in that 2 car in the second spot, you know, you're already 25 minutes in about, so you can only really wait so much longer before you say, okay, it's go time.
Pit stops.
Oh, and there we go. Second and third hit the road. We weren't sure if we'd see anyone make the trip down pit road. So RC, Rigdon, and Brown in the 4 car right behind him, the white Mustang, head down pit road together. So we'll see if Rowe maybe elects to come down the next trip around.
Curious of what they're going to do. Oh, definitely getting tires on that machine. Not sure if the Mustang's getting tires or not.
Definitely getting tires on the 2 Porsche for sure. And these guys getting fuel as well. Mentioned at the start of the show about the 100% fuel load that we believe these guys are using. And it definitely looked to me like the stops might have been a little longer waiting on fuel. Not sure. But we are under 20 minutes remaining now. Rowe remains on track. Tyler Brown in the 3rd position there. The white Mustang. Talked about it just a little earlier in the show. This is such a picturesque racetrack. This is such a just beautiful facility. I just can't get over how photogenic this place is. It looks incredible. I think that, you know, I'm kind of jealous of you, Jeremy, that you got to be here just a week ago for NASCAR Cup racing. I feel like this is one that is probably on my bucket list.
And as a fan, I will say that as a fan, you sit in the right seats. You've got the same view, like you're saying right now, of this awesome track of the picturesque, and like you said, Rowe on pit road. I like the way that sounds. We'll have to see how it plays out. As Rigdon and Brown already made their stops. Looks like Brown was the big winner between those two. Let's see if Rowe can capitalize and stay out front.
Definitely going to need to capitalize absolutely for the 18. He's been dominant all race, started from the pole position. Here's the 27 now heading down pit road as well. So we'll see if the 2 of RC Rigdon or the 4 of Brown are able to maybe leapfrog Rowe. I think RC coming in as close as he did to the back of the 18 would have had a better chance, but he spent a lot longer on pit road.
Just coming off of pit road. Here we go.
And here's Brown now, our runner up. There's the 18. So he is able to hold on to the lead.
Looks like Rowe was the big winner here. Did a great job staying out front. Looks like our biggest loser is going to be the Rigdon machine. We'll have to see if he can make the charge back to front. We only got 17 and a half minutes to go.
Yeah, definitely a bummer for RC and the 2 machine. Not sure what caused such a slow trip down pit road, but it definitely looked like he was in the box for quite a while. Not sure what happened or anything like that to make him be on pit road for that long, but now suddenly Brown in the Mustang right back behind the 18 is in a position where if he could maybe close up to Darren Rowe, could he accomplish what we saw Rigdon not able to accomplish, which was get alongside of the 18?
Yeah, that Rowe machine has a new look of a car in his rearview mirror, a little bit bigger looking, a little bit more meaner in my opinion, of this Ford Mustang all over his back bumper with one lap more on his tires. I believe Brown's car might be more up to speed, I guess is the best way to put it. But with that coming out so much farther ahead of Brown, that Rowe did, it looks like his tires are just coming up to temperature now, and he is going to be good to go. As we are now down to the 16-minute mark. Looks like just over 2 minutes a lap, so maybe 8-ish, 9-ish laps to go here.
And just about. I figure it'll, it takes a little over a minute to get around this place, maybe about a minute and a half depending. And it is all Darren Rowe out front, just as it has been since the drop of the green flag back about half an hour ago now. Tyler Brown still obviously doing all he can to try to get in striking distance of Rowe to be able to make a move for the potential win. Obviously, anything could happen even if he does, but you got to start somewhere. You got to start by making the pass. Not even really that. You got to start by getting in range to make the pass.
Brown just starting to slip back, it looks like a little bit, but sometimes he puts down some really decent laps, and sometimes it looks like he might have missed it in one of the other corners and loses just maybe a tenth or two there, and gathers it back up, and he's there. I don't know if maybe the dirty air, like I said earlier, like when you get closer to these cars in front of you, if they, it just makes it hard to pass or something like that, but 14 minutes to go. We'll see if Brown can get there. I think RC Rigdon might be closing in a little bit, but very slowly.
And even if he does get here, not saying it's impossible that he could pull off what would definitely be an upset at this point, but the challenge is greater now that he would have to pass not just Rowe, but he'd have to find a way around Tyler Brown as well.
Exactly that. Not one, but 2 cars you have to get around. Maybe he can get lucky in these front runners right now of Rowe and Brown can get side by side and maybe bump some doors or something like that. Who knows? As we take a look at the rest of the field, looks like there's 7 cars still on the lead lap. Billy Sigmund looks like he's in 4th right now. 27 machine there in 5th. Rick Javarik in 6th. Gabriel Gaddy in 7th. It looks like everybody from there on out is out of the race.
Yeah, I saw a few incidents during this race, but nothing too crazy, nothing too, you know, that lasted very long. Thankfully, it's been fairly clean throughout this entire show, and props to Gabriel Gotti as well for just continuing the race on. You know, this race obviously wouldn't pay any points, safety rating, I rating, nothing like that, but he is still in here just having some fun in that Ferrari number 12 in the 7th spot. Saw him have an accident earlier on, so definitely some props for having the resilience to keep going.
And that's one thing about this track is it's so big, it can almost get a little bit lonely if you're out there by yourself. But it looks like you had one driver in front of him. It looks like Gaddy and Javarik there might have a battle for 6th and 7th. 25 seconds roughly back from the leader right now is 6th place. Or excuse me, 5th place. So these drivers are pretty strung out. First 3 within 3 seconds, and about 18 plus from there on out.
And sometimes the best battles you'll ever find in the field are off screen. You know, at the mid pack, back pack, you know, anything like that. You know, so those guys often fight just as hard for any spot they can get, and I think these two, if the 12 can get there, might have some fun trying to get that 6th spot from Rick here. Sharp number 52 paint job as well. Under 12 minutes remaining now, of course, and Rowe continues to show the way, holding a pretty consistent gap between himself and Brown. Of course, it's RC Rigon, who had a very slow trip down pit road, who had ran second majority of this race, but now finds himself in the 3rd spot trying to rebound and get back into this, but time running low.
Time running out is exactly it. 11 minutes to be exact. This race, honestly, for being 45 minutes long, feels like it's flying by, and I'm not sure why, which is weird, but got to get these drivers props up front. These first 3 have kept each other within range to give us something to talk about. We got to appreciate them for really wheeling these machines and putting on a good show.
Exactly. It always helps when there's things on track to help us throughout the broadcast. It would be a lot more difficult if, say, Rowe was as far away from these guys as, say, the 4th and 5th place runners are from 6th and 7th. Just helps us out a lot. RC has, it seems, well, maybe it's tough. I mean, you know, you mentioned maybe a little dirty air coming into play, but RC, it seems like, similar to how he was handling Rowe, our race leader, when he was running second, seems like he's able to kind of close in, and then that push just kind of fades a little bit, as Tyler Brown still holds the 2nd spot right now. And unless Rowe makes a mistake, it seems that Brown might have a difficult time gaining on him, but all it would take is just a little wiggle, a little bobble, and he would be able to have a chance at completing the pass.
Like you said, being the leader right now, you've got those lights in your rearview mirror that just keep flashing over and over again. It's got to be somewhat distracting in my opinion, because I would be distracted, ADHD brain. I'd be like, ooh, shiny light. And
it's no fun when someone's behind you trying to tell you to go faster on the freeway, flashing your lights at you. So maybe Brown putting some real life fear into the sim world with Rowe, playing some games however you can.
Oh, as Brown decided to kind of blink there for a second.
All good now, and RC Rigdon has kind of been able to track down Brown, keeping him at arm's reach for the moment. Final under 9 minutes now.
I definitely think he's going to be able to try to make this pass and complete it very shortly. He is there.
We've seen him back out in the bus stop a few times today. Brown's going to not put up much of a fight.
Very smart move.
Through the grass. Wheeling that thing through here. The battle for 6th is on as well. Gabriel Gaddy trying to get around the 12 machine. Or excuse me, that is the 12 machine trying to get around the... What number is this? I can't even
52.
keep up. I'm all over the place. The 52 machine of Rick. Right there. There we go. But RC Rigdon has retaken the second position. Obviously still a tall task at hand, trying to find a way to track down Rowe, who I don't think has lost the lead really for even a moment this race.
That is correct. That was a smart move by Tyler Brown when he got past, to just let him have it, just follow him, and maybe it'll help him keep up his speed by following a faster car. Really close there. Look at this battle through the bus stop. Driver's doing a great job with these Lambos. Oh, we got a car getting loose there.
And that's a big part of those tight battles, trying to stay as close as he could to Rick there in the 52 and gave it a little too much juice. He's able to hold on to it though, Gabriel Gaddy in the 12 Ferrari right there on your screen. We're about to run under the 7-minute mark. Now once the clock expires, of course, we'll get the white flag the next time we see the finish line, and then we will see the checkered from there.
Rowe, lots of breathing room right now. There's no way to get time to go any faster, and as a driver right now in that leader's position right now, I'd be so frustrated watching that clock take forever. Second after second after second.
It feels like the longest clock when you're up front, and even if it was a lap count, you would feel like it was ticking by just as slow.
So 1:44 a lap. Looks like we should have about 7 to go-ish. We'll have to see how this plays out.
It's going to be interesting for sure. I think that RC, I wouldn't rule out maybe getting one more crack at it, but it will be tough. Yeah, it will be tough, even if he does get there to complete the pass, and just, it's going to be interesting, though. I think that Rowe has just been absolutely spectacular. Obviously want to highlight him a little bit here, of course. He's been so good today, and just the clinic that he has put on here, it's been impressive, and he hasn't cruised to it by any means. He's had multiple times around this racetrack where he's had somebody on the rear bumper and was able to still keep composed, not let the pressure get too hard, and was able to hold on to the lead.
Yep, exactly that. Being the leader, not by chance whatsoever. He's been up front all race long, just teetering with that second mark there for the rigged-on machine. I wonder if he took tires or the other drivers just took fuel. I don't know, but he seems to definitely be making a charge right now. We'll have to see what he can do if he can get to his bumper. Just under 5 minutes to go here on Fast Fridays.
Yeah, it is go time now. There's a pretty decent gap between first and second and third, and as for Tyler Brown, should he get to RC, that'd be exactly what Rowe would want in that rear view mirror, seeing those two get side by side, because that would make it way easier for him to put an even bigger gap than he already has on the second place spot.
Man, these cars sound absolutely awesome when you're sitting here listening to these cars on the sim. You hear that American muscle, that foreign muscle. It is just one heck of a rush. I could imagine what it would be like to watch one of these races in person. I might have to try to make one of these IMSA races at the Glen. I think they do the 6 hours of Glen. I have never made it, but 4 hours of NASCAR racing in the stands is high. I can imagine what it's like being there for 6.
Absolutely. It's put on a great show. Like I said, this is definitely a racetrack that I think is on my bucket list. I'd love to see this place in person someday. Still all good at the front for Rowe.
Rigdon, right there now, man. He is 9 minutes. When it was 9 minutes to go, I didn't think he was going to be even this close, and he has proven me wrong and really starting to put that pressure on.
He is definitely on a mission, and he has been on that mission all race long, but it has been difficult for him to complete the pass once he's right up to the rear of Rowe. So now we'll see how he handles it this go around.
3 minutes to go. We'll have to see how this battle at the front transpires. I feel like we're going to put a barn burner down. Look at that. It just drives it in so much deeper in that Porsche.
Yeah, like you said, it seems like he's got such good straightaway speed and is able to pull away, get a better run up on the car ahead than most that we've seen tonight. Definitely better than the Ford Mustang of Brown back there in third, who is still trying all he can to maybe get involved in this battle. And as we hit the finish line, of course, just running over 2 minutes, I think that would kind of suggest maybe at most we'll go around here 2 more times.
That's what iRacing, I believe, is telling me 2 more times. But look at this battle for the lead. We are going to have one here with 2 laps to go. The bumpers are going to get touched up to the S's coming to the backstretch.
Yeah, this is getting real good now. Might be, like you said, might be setting up for a heck of a finish. RC is there. Rowe has not lost the lead for even a split second this race, and he goes wide. Here goes RC to the lead.
We said that Rowe would have to make a mistake, and there it was. Rigdon, all that work has paid off. He's going to be coming to the white flag, I believe, next time with the lead. Unbelievable.
Now let's take another look at this. Rowe just goes way wide in the bus stop, and RC didn't even have to get too physical with it, just pressured Rowe into making what could prove to be a very catastrophic mistake. RC, like you said, gonna come back around, and it should be the 2 to go. Then we'll come back around, we'll get the white flag and wrap it up here on Fast Fridays as we come out of the boot layout more towards the NASCAR side of things. Brown a little wide there. Heading for the final corner with just over half a minute left, so we are going to see 2 more laps at the Glen.
Man, what a race by RC Rigdon. We thought he was down and out after that pit stop. Proved me wrong and just came out there, put the pressure on Rowe. I was extremely surprised to see Rowe make that mistake. He's been so dominant all race long, showing why he belonged up front. And RC Rigdon really just, I guess you could say, showed him up right there and made him force himself into a mistake.
Major
Oh, Rigdon! Oh no! Rigdon did it himself! Oh my goodness!
Ran him down, caught the leader, and now Rowe has the lead again. Brown is in second and is going to be doing all he can to try and get there. I just don't know if he's going to have a chance. What a turn of events on the final lap of all time.
Absolute heartbreak in that RC Rigdon camp. I believe it. Man, what are the chances that these 2 drivers that we thought were going to win it both make a mistake in the bus stop? We'll have to see if the Rowe machine can hold off of this Brown machine, though.
Brown is closing and closing fast. He's going to only got 1 more corner out of here. And I think that's all she wrote. Rowe, when it looked like maybe it was over, gets it back. He wins Fast Fridays in the GT3 cars at Watkins Glen.
Wow. For 3 cars that
Unbelievable.
were only ones battling out here, they did one heck of a job.
Definitely did. That was impressive. No doubt about it. I mean, definitely put on the clinic, but the craziest thing is RC rigged on, ran him down, pressured him into a mistake, and then made one himself on the final lap of all times.
This race was crazy from the start, and then at the end there, it was crazy.
It was definitely worth the wait. Let's take a look at the full results here. Darren Rowe brings it home. He won. Tyler Brown in second. RC Rigdon does still hold on to a podium finish. Obviously, heartbreaking nonetheless. Billy Sigmund, the 27 of Kovalovs, I believe, Dutch name, I want to say, in the fifth spot. Rick Javorka in sixth. Gabriel Gotti did finish the race. Props to him. I'll be a couple laps down. Seventh. Jem Sims eighth. Derek Sellers ninth. Michael Curran 10th. Those all are DNFs. They parked it early, either due to accidents, and then, of course, we had some just not start tonight. And I believe we had one other finisher in the 11th position. And I want to say it was, yes, the 11, sorry, 11th is the 23 of Jem Sims 5. Not sure if related at all, but I believe 12th on back through here. They were entered into the event, but they did not start the race tonight. So 12th through 20th did enter, but they did not run this race. Well, Jeremy,
Wow.
obviously we saw something crazy there at the end. Uh, any closing thoughts there? I mean, I don't think either of us saw that last lap coming.
I did not expect that mistake out of Darren Rowe, and I did not expect that mistake out of RC Rigdon, who did all of that work to get there. Man, I really wish we could interview these guys. I hope they can make it in here. We'll have to see if they can. But man, what a great battle between those two drivers up front. The pit stops definitely put another element into it and probably added some excitement to it. Uh, I wish we definitely got more drivers to turn laps here in the race, but the ones that did, they all put on a great show for us.
Absolutely. You just never know what you're going to get here on Fast Fridays, the weekly series presented by Maconi Setup Shop. Of course, this is another qualifier for the monthly money races. Talked about that. It's been an exciting season. Every week, different track, different car. And, mentioned the smaller field tonight. Obviously, something that plays a role in the size of the fields we get is the track and car. And for what we got from the guys that were brave enough to sign on up for it, they definitely put on a great show for us.
Cannot wait for the Legends at South Boston next week.
Yeah, that's going to be definitely a lot more entertaining for us guys that know the ovals, but great race here in the GT3s. There's the remaining schedule. Obviously, 719 through 920 now in the books. Legends at South Boston up next. Trucks at Talladega wraps it up on October 4th, right here on Maconi Entertainment. And of course, you get that awesome money race prize in the bottom left. You can either put a trophy up on your mantle or you can get $250 cash, which is definitely enough incentive, I think, for just about anybody to want to come race. Give it a shot. Why not? So, obviously, a lot of fun here. Love Fast Fridays. Love what we do on Maconi Entertainment.
All right. Well, looks like we did not get anybody to stop in for interviews. That was a great time, Shane. That was a blast working
Definitely
with you.
was. Definitely was. Always is with all of us, of course. It was David Kreutz up in the producer booth, did a phenomenal job for us. As always, Jeremy Briggs alongside me, Shane Mundy, in the booth. Thank you guys so much for tuning in here on Maconi Entertainment to Fast Fridays. We hope to see you next week for the next Fast Fridays race. Stay tuned to all the Maconi Entertainment social media pages for the next race, or to ensure you don't miss it, just visit www.maconyentertainment.com. You can watch live broadcasts on the site, learn about all the different series that Maconi Entertainment broadcasts, or you could even fill out the broadcast interest form to see your league or own special event right here on air, called by our very own Maconi Entertainment team. From all of us at Maconi Entertainment, we wish you a happy Friday night and a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.